What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to do 3 looks with the new NYX Modern Dreamer palette. Now, I already did one look with this palette. I used this palette in my last Get Ready With Me video, and it was just, you know, as those videos are, a get ready with me style situation. But as soon as I did that look, I knew that I needed to do 3 looks with this palette because, first of all, the variety in here is fantastic. And second of all, this is probably, and I know this is a spoiler alert for the review portion of this video, but like, honestly, this is probably one of the best NYX palettes I've ever used. It is so good. The 3 looks today are definitely really on the colorful side because this palette has a lot going on as far as color is concerned. I tried to use as many different things from here as I could so we get a really good picture of what this palette is like. Before we get into the first look, please do not forget to take a second, just one teensy little second of your day to leave a like on this video because that really helps me out a ton and I super appreciate it. And if you are newish around here, maybe you've watched 1 or 2 videos and you haven't subscribed yet, please go ahead and do so because first of all, I would love to have you around for more videos, but also, did you know that if you don't subscribe, your Uber rating goes down? I know, weird. As always, all 3 looks will be timestamped in the description down below. I think that's all we need to talk about before we get started. So let's just jump in to look number 1 with the NYX Modern Dreamer palette. This is what the palette looks like. For look number 1, I'm going to start with some of the orange shades. And what I'm going to do for these tutorials is just point to the shades I'm using. There is a little number chart listed on the back of this palette, but quite frankly, the way that this is listed, I'm not even sure if it's like flipped or if it's like literally the number that would have been behind it, you know what I mean? And it's like solving a friggin' Rubik's Cube. So instead, we're gonna point. I'm gonna start with this lightest orange matte shade and I am going to pick that up on my BH number 6 brush. I'm gonna place that in the higher part of my crease and start blending that up toward my brow. And I'm gonna blend the top edge of that out with a clean brush. Next, I'm going to go into this more medium orange shade. This one looks like it could have a little bit of like a satin finish to it, but I think it'll be okay for the crease anyway. On a Sigma E36 blending brush, I'm going to start putting that through the more concentrated crease portion. And on that same brush, I'm going to go into this shade here, which is still in the orange family, but almost a red. And I'm going to build that up in the crease as well. I'm going to pick up my MAC 221S brush, which is very similar to the Sigma E36, but it's just a little bit fatter. I'm going to go into this matte berry shade up here in the top corner. So I'm going to take that shade, I'm going to put it on the outer corner of my eye. And then whatever's left on that brush, I'm going to start sweeping it through the crease. I'm gonna take this Luxie 121 mini brush and I'm gonna go into this yellow shade here. And I'm gonna add that to the edge of where we blended out the orange, very light-handed, just to give that one more little bit of like a sunsetty shade right at the edge. It makes the blend look so much more like done. And it also just kind of adds a little extra pop of color to the look that we wouldn't have otherwise. And I'm gonna keep that concentrated mostly just like to the inner corner where it comes up to meet my brow. On a NABLA small pencil brush, I'm gonna go into the matte neon pink. I'm gonna pack that right at the edge where we put down that more berry shade. On a Real Technique shading brush, I'm gonna go into this gold shade right here. I wore this in just like a simple look that I did yesterday for life, to just walk around and go out to dinner and stuff. And this gold is so pretty. I think it might be one of my favorite gold shadows that I own. And that's saying something because I have like, no joke, 700 of them. I'm gonna place that gold all over the inner portion of the lid. And right in the middle here where the gold butts up against the pink, on the same brush, I'm just gonna dip into this pink champagne shimmer and use that to bridge the gap between the two. I added concealer underneath my eyes and some powder. I was getting a little bit of fallout with those shades, not like really intense fallout, but enough that I needed to wipe it away with a makeup wipe before I put my concealer on. For the lower lash line, I'm gonna pick up the MAC 221 brush again, and I'm gonna go back into the matte pink shade. I'm gonna sweep that under my lower lash line. I'm gonna bring that pretty far out because that's gonna be like the mid-tone shade that I blend out the rest of the shades into for this look. I'm gonna sweep away that little bit of fallout and blend the edges of that with the clean blending brush that I used earlier. Picking up that NABLA small pencil brush again, I'm gonna go into this matte mauve shade here. I'm gonna drag that underneath my lower lash line. And on this lash line smudger brush, I'm gonna go into this more dark purple shade here. I'm gonna push that right into the lower lashes. For the waterline, I'm gonna use Urban Decay Torch. This is one of my favorite shades to use when I'm doing like a more sunset-y kind of a vibe. Okay, I added House of Lashes Stella Luxe and some mascara, and I finished up my skin. And now I'm gonna add a lip to this look, and I think, to me, this look calls for what I would refer to as a juicy nude. I'm gonna start by lining my lips with a ColourPop Lippy Pencil in the color Oh Sis, and the MAC Luster Lipstick in the color The Naturalist from the Electric Wonder collection. I did a full review of the Electric Wonder collection on my channel. If you haven't seen that, I'll link that up on the screen here. It's a delight, I must say. Not that my video is a delight, the collection's a delight, but like, I don't know, my videos, it's pretty good. And this is the first look. For look number 2, I'm gonna do a look very similar, not identical, but really similar to the one I did in the first video I did with this palette, which was a Get Ready With Me. So I'm gonna start with this pinky mauve shade here as a transition. On a MAC 217 brush, I'm gonna pack that through my crease. I'm gonna go ahead and deepen that up with this plummy shade on the corner. And just like we did in the last look, I'm gonna go into a little bit of the yellow shade here, but this time I'm gonna mix it with a little bit of the matte orange that's next to it. And I'm gonna use that just to add a little bit of a different color to the edge of that blend. And this time I'm also gonna do it on the outer edge. I'm gonna pick up a little more of that same shade on a pencil brush and pack it on the outer third of my lid. I'm also gonna go into this slightly darker shade here and put that right on the outer corner. Okay, now I'm gonna cut half of the crease, and I'm gonna use my Kat Von D Lock-It Concealer, which is what I've been using most of the time lately to cut the crease. I'm just gonna use my NABLA Cut Crease brush and stamp out the shape that I want. And then I'm just gonna pull that concealer down onto the lid with what's left on the brush. I'm gonna go into the bright yellow shade on a lash line smudger brush. I'm gonna pack that right on the inner corner. Then I'm gonna go into this chartreuse green shade here. I'm gonna pack that right next to the yellow. Next, I'm gonna go into this turquoise shimmer. And on a MAC 217 brush, I'm going to go into a purple shade to soften the transition between the red and the bluish color. I'm going to use this purple shimmer right here. When I did the half cut crease with this palette for the other video, I put two types of glitter over the transition between the darkest shade and like the outer corner. But I really like the way these colors come together on the outer corner. So instead, I'm gonna add a little bit of glitter over the yellow on the inner corner because I still wanna do like a little textural element of the glitter, but I don't wanna cover up this part because I think that makes it look more interesting. So I'm gonna grab the Urban Decay Heavy Metal Glitter Gel in the color Dreamland, which is kind of yellowish. I'm just picking that up on a small flat brush. I'm just gonna place it over just the inner corner portion of the yellow. I'm gonna go ahead and clean up this little bit of fallout and conceal underneath my eyes, and then we'll start working on the lower lash line. Concealer is all done, and so now I'm gonna start smoking out the lower lash line. I'm gonna go right into that reddish shade. On a NABLA pointed crease brush, I'm gonna sweep that under the lower lash line and hook it right around into the top. I'm just gonna blend the edge of that out with a clean blending brush. I'm gonna take this Luxie 141 mini brush and go into a little bit of this champagne shade right here. I'm gonna dampen that with some Fix Plus. I was gonna use it to brighten up like the inner part of the lower lash line just to give it a little bit of light, but I don't want it to have too much color. For the waterline, I'm gonna open it up with a matte nude. This is the Tarte Fake Away pencil. I'm gonna go finish the other eye, add some mascara and lashes, and then we'll add a lip to this. I used House of Lashes Stella Luxe and the MAC Perm Me Up mascara that I love. And for the lip, I think we're going Juicy Nude again, but we're gonna do it a little bit different this time. This is the new Revlon Ultra HD lip polish. They sent me over the new line of these, and I've been trying them out just like in day-to-day life for a few days. They are phenomenal. They're so good. They look beautiful on the lips and they wear for so long. I really, really like them. These might be my favorite drugstore lip product. They're very, very good. So for this version of our Juicy Nude, I'm gonna use the color, what's this one called? Act Natural, which is like a pinky nude. And I'm gonna put that over the Kat Von D lip pencil in the color D minor. And this is the second look. Okay, for look number 3, I'm honestly not really sure where I'm going with this, but I kind of want to do something similar to this look up here from Tenchainzz. I always wind up recreating looks of hers when I don't know what to do with myself. So that's the plan. Not so much like a recreation of it, but just like the idea of the more colorful shades kind of blended out through the crease. That's what I'm thinking. So I'm gonna pick up my BH number 6 brush, and to start, I'm gonna use this medium orange shade again. I'm gonna put that in my crease area, but I'm only putting it toward the inner portion because I'm gonna put other colors on the outer portion. I'm just gonna take a clean blending brush and blend the edge of that out toward my brow. I'm gonna pick up that same brush and go into the, I'm doing the yellow blended out thing again, okay? It's what I do this video, just, I'm sorry. I'm gonna dip it into that yellow, and I'm gonna blend that toward my brow as well. For the outer portion, I'm going to do the same thing, but with this teal color here on the same, whoa, hello, just dropped it. On the same BH number 6 brush. And I'm gonna pick up that same blending brush and blend the edge of that out. It still has a tiny bit of the yellow on it, which is fine because it'll just all blend into like a more green shade, but I'm not gonna add any extra color to it. To deepen up the crease, I'm gonna pick up my NABLA Precise Pointed Crease Brush and go into this matte navy shade here. This is almost like a black navy, so I'm a little bit light-handed with it. And I'm gonna keep that only on the outer portion where we put down that teal color because I have a feeling if I try to blend the orange with that, it's going to look really bad. And for the inner portion where I put down the orange, I'm gonna go back into that same kind of plum shade that we used in the last look on a Sigma E36 brush, and I'm just gonna put that through the crease there. For the lid portion that we left open so far, I'm gonna go into this shimmering brown shade here. I'm gonna put that on a Real Technique shading brush, and I'm gonna wet that a little bit. I'm gonna start by packing that down in the middle and just kind of tap it out toward the edges because I'm gonna have to deepen the edges with the matte shade. For the outer corner and the inner corner, I'm gonna go into this matte brown down here on a pencil brush. And just use that to deepen it up. And I'm gonna pick up a little bit of each of these 2 brown shades, blend them together, and then just use that where that starts to meet that shimmer in the middle because that shimmer is pretty bright. And I think that's the only way we're gonna be able to create a bit of a gradient. I'm gonna pick up the Sigma E36 brush again and go into the darkest brown shade that we used, and I'm gonna just drag that through the entire crease to blend those dark shades into the colors that we put through the crease initially. I concealed underneath my eyes and put down a lot of powder, and before I move on to the lower lash line, I'm gonna add a little glitter to the center. I'm gonna pick up Starfire glitter from Urban Decay. I used this recently, but I'm using it again because I think the color is a good medium type of a brownish glitter. So I'm gonna pop that right in the center and just tap the edges of it in with my finger. For the lower lash line, I'm gonna go into this, is this purple or is it mauve? Whatever it is, this one, I'm going into that on a BH number 5. And sweep that out to meet the blue on the top. And I'm gonna bring that pretty much across the whole lower lash line. I'm gonna pick up this little MAC 228 brush and go into this darker purple shade here. It's not really a dark purple, but it's darker than the one we just used. And I'm just gonna use that to define the outer portion of the lower lashes just a little bit. And that'll also help us connect that purple into that dark blue. For the waterline, I'm gonna use Tarte Fake Awake pencil again, just because I feel like there's a lot of dark colors going on here, so opening up the eye and brightening it back up again is probably gonna be the most flattering way to go. And for the inner corner, I'm just gonna take a little bit of this champagne shimmer shade up here on a pencil brush. I'm just gonna pop that right in there just to wake it up and brighten it a little bit. It's like honestly gonna be almost invisible, but it's the little things that make a difference. I'm gonna finish up the other eye and add some mascara and lashes, and then we'll add a lip to finish the look. Okay, put on House of Blushes Stella Luxe again, and for this look, I'm going to, again, keep it really simple with the nude lip because obviously there's a lot of color going on the eyes, and you know, it's not that, I'm not one of those people who thinks that you can't wear like a bright eye with a bright lip, but sometimes I feel like when you put a lot of colors on the eye and you wear a bright lip, it takes the attention away from it, so I'd like to keep the attention on the eye look here. So I'm gonna use the NABLA lip pencil in the color Touch Me. And I'm simply gonna top that with the Bite Agave lip mask. This is the clear original one. And this is the third look. Okay, so that's all 3 looks done, and like I already said, I already spoiled it for you guys. I really like this palette. I think this might be the best NYX palette I've ever used. For NYX, and I've said this before, I said the same thing with the Swear By It palette. These palettes are on the pricier side for them. They are $35 normally. Right now, I have the Ulta site pulled up, and right now they are on sale for $24.50, which is a pretty good deal. It's around the same price as a Morphe palette at that point. I think this actually might be better quality than Morphe as far as the shadow pigmentation and how it blends is concerned. And the one that really blew me away is this dark navy matte is so good. It blended really, really easily, very, very smoothly, and the undertones of it are like a really pretty rich blue. I was super impressed. Honestly, there wasn't a single shadow that performed terribly in here out of all of them, but there was one that I noticed was not quite as pigmented and buttery as the others. I have some powder in the palette that fell in there, so try to ignore that. But the neon pink shade, not the best neon pink shade I've ever used. I would say that the neon pink in the James Charles palette, as well as the neon pink in both the Alyssa Edwards and the Riviera palettes from ABH, are probably better than this one. I noticed this because I filmed this 3 looks video over 3 separate days, and I also did that other video and wore that look for the rest of the day, so I actually got to see how they wear a little bit. I noticed that the oranges and the yellow do fade a little bit more quickly than a lot of my shadows do, even over like the Urban Decay primer, which usually keeps shadows on for a really long time. Outside of that though, which is really a small complaint because those are pretty light shades, so them fading a little bit is not like mind-blowing. It makes a lot of sense. But outside of that, the performance of these shadows is fantastic. If you're looking for a really colorful palette for summer and you don't want to spend a ton, you're not a fan of Morphe, you don't want to get one of their palettes, I think that this is a fantastic alternative to that. Honestly, it's one of the better palettes that I've picked up in a while. NYX doesn't always blow my socks off in the eyeshadow department, but this one I'm very impressed. Please don't forget to leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it, if you think maybe you want to recreate one of these looks, if you just had a good time talking about makeup with me for a few minutes, because it really helps me out and I always appreciate it. And if you are new here, please don't forget to subscribe because I would love to keep you around because I mean, well, you're a delight, you know? I'd like to have you here. If you want to keep up with me between videos, I am at Miss Quinface over on Instagram. You can follow me there. I usually post some close-ups of the makeup looks either on my feed or on my stories. I also post more intricate, like artsy kind of makeup looks and lip art and stuff like that. And I keep my stories updated with PR unboxings and let you guys know what's going on this channel. So if you want to keep up with any of that, Instagram's the place to find me. That is all for today. I am going to go wear this big, bold, bright, colorful look to Trader Joe's of all places. And I will be back in a few days with another video. Thank you for hanging out with me today. I appreciate every single one of you, and I will see you in the next one.